Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 16 of Season 2 of Riverdale, Primary Colors. And this is another pretty solid episode of the series, except that, sorry, gotta get comfortable here. There's a lot of really weird stuff going on with the characters, and I'm glad that the fans are pointing this stuff out. Like, Archie seems like way too into camp lodge for anything that seems reasonable. I mean, even to the point of giving his dad crap and implying like, "Hey man, you're scared of Hiram Lodge, right?" Now, being afraid of Hiram is not an unreasonable thing, but still, Archie's mom was right to immediately get on his case for being disrespectful to his father like that. So yeah, that's not cool, Archie. Although I did like that we did see Archie showing like when Tyrone told him like, "Hey, go cut your friend's uh, chains down at the high school." Archie's like, "No, I can't do it." And Hiram's like, "Okay, well, remember you did make a blood oath to me, and if you're not going to follow through with that, there's going to be some consequences." And Archie, of course, reconsiders, but I do like that he points out, like, okay, I'm going to do this, but you're going to need to do something for me. And, of course, that helps him get Fred free to run for mayor on his own, which is, in my mind, pretty intriguing, even though the whole thing with Fred wanting to be mayor seems very out of left field. On the upside, though, Archie's mom is also going to be sticking around for a while, and hey, I'm not going to complain about more Molly Ringwald, right? And I did like that confrontation at the school between Archie and Jughead. Although I really want to know, how are they going to explain this? Like, why did the Riverdale High school wrestling team just spontaneously decide to go down there and decide they had to do this? I mean, what is the reasoning behind this? I mean, obviously it's because the wrestling team was more or less becomes Hiram's goons at Riverdale High, but seriously, why are a bunch of high school kids logically going to do this? How is this going to be explained to other people? It makes no sense. And I really, really did like that scene with just Archie and Jughead just staring at each other, Jughead pissed off beyond words, and Archie obviously very regretful of the situation. And I was just kind of hoping that there was going to be a moment later where they were just like secretly going to meet up and be like, "Okay, man, our secret plot to take down Hiram is moving. As so far, everybody is buying this act we're doing. We're totally going to nail this guy." I mean, I didn't think it was actually going to happen, but that would have been so awesome if, like, the whole time this thing between Archie and Jughead was just like one enormous plot that they hatched. That would have been glorious, albeit rather unrealistic. And speaking of unrealistic, like, why is Jughead so obsessed with Southside High? I mean, it is pointed out to him in this episode. It's like, dude, you were a student there for like 4 days, and it turned out that one of the teachers was like a major drug dealer, and you got attacked, and there are people there who were like insane, dangerous, like nutcases. So, but Jughead is like, "Oh, it's the soul of the South Side," and like, all of my great memories are in the South Side. It's like, yeah, when this show started, wasn't your dad an alcoholic? Your mom ran off with your little sister, and then when you called her and said like, "Hey, mom, can I come live with you?" She basically blew you off. Like, what? Didn't your life more or less kind of suck until like really recently? In fact, you were so alienated from your dad, you were sleeping in a storeroom at a drive-in theater. I mean, what the hell, Jughead? Your happiest memories? I mean, he does have a point. It's like, I don't want my little sister to have to work at a prison to earn a decent income here in Riverdale, but still, it's not like this is going to be the only job in town. I mean, people in Riverdale do have other jobs. I mean, there's like the maple syrup thing going on. There's a newspaper. There's a diner. Fred has a construction business. I mean, the prison is not going to be the only business in town. Yeah. Um, in this episode, also, we see Veronica being found out that she knew about what was going on and was not honest with her friends, and they are justifiably pissed at her. Um, I did like they brought back up the whole situation with Ethel, and Veronica has recently given Josie some grief, and so those two teaming up to sort of you know do Veronica one back. That was nicely done. Of course, Veronica also punched Reggie in the face, and while it was well deserved, how in the name of God is she not suspended? I mean, seriously. At my high school, my high school was interesting because we were literally just a few minutes drive from the police headquarters in my town. So fighting at my school, you would literally be led out of the school in handcuffs, and your parents would have to pick you up at the police station. They did not joke around with fighting at my high school. I mean, I literally saw two dudes who were fighting, and there was actually a cop there. It was like when there would be a cop there when people were going home for the day just to sort of help traffic flow and all of that. The cop saw them, ran over there, warned them twice to stop fighting. They didn't, and those two guys got pepper sprayed for their trouble. So in this situation, to be fair, the policeman did warn them twice. I saw it with my own eyes. But yeah, Veronica totally should have been suspended for that. And yeah, no surprise that Betty ended up ditching her to go and end up being Jughead's running mate. And this is extremely intriguing to me, as is going to be the situation with Betty deciding to go and live with Jughead and FP. But then again, given the situation with Chick, it's hard to blame her. Then again, I think Betty was just pouring it on a little too intense for what was going on with Chick. With something like that, like you need to play it a little bit smarter. Like going into his room and waving fire in his face. Well, yeah, no duh, he's eventually going to run to your mom with that, Betty. And the whole thing with like, yeah, like I catch bad men, and the people that people who really get on my bad list, you know, um, Mr. Blossom, the Sugar Man, Black Hood all end up dead. Yeah, that's overplaying your hand, Betty. What you should have reminded her when Chick says like, hey, maybe I should call the cops, and you touched that guy's phone, you made all those calls on that guy's phone, and you touched this, that, and the other thing. Well, okay, on that one, I think Chick is really full of it. Because if that happens, then I find it difficult that his mom would be willing to, like, you sent your sister to jail, tried to send your sister to a jail for the crime that you committed. Alice is pretty far under Chick's spell, but I think that's a little too much. Also, let's not forget, Betty helped take down a Mr. Blossom. She basically became a town hero because of that. I mean, the Black Hood even said, like, he was kind of inspired by that speech she gave. So again, Betty's a hero in Riverdale. And Chick is a shady cam boy who probably has had some interesting encounters with the law before this. So, who is Sheriff Keller more likely to believe? Especially if he investigates, it's like, does Betty have any connection whatsoever to this guy who's dead? Doesn't seem like it. Does Chick? Yes. Who is more likely to have killed this guy? Let's see, what's the situation? Betty killed this dude for no real reason? Or Chick killed this dude because he was the guy's drug dealer and something went south and Betty is merely an accessory after the fact? Yeah. And, dude, are you forgetting that the woman you're threatening, her boyfriend, is like heavily involved, is like heavily connected to a seriously powerful motorcycle gang, and she's also cool with the gang's leader, who happens to be her boyfriend's dad, who also helped get rid of that guy's body and knows what you did. Although I suppose maybe Chick, I can't remember. Does Chick know about that? Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if Chick pushes Betty too far, he might end up in a shallow grave, courtesy of the serpents, if it really comes to like he's going to be a genuine danger to Betty. But I think Betty will ultimately end up dealing with Chick herself. This is Betty's fight to deal with, and interesting that Chick did expose Betty, you know, getting it on with Jughead, and apparently, you know, being a little bit naughty about it. But again, Betty's what, 16 years old. It's not like Alice wasn't having sex in high school. I did like that she kind of pointed out, like, hey, you're being safe, right? Okay, points to Alice for a little bit of responsible parenting there, which is a nice change for Alice because she's more specialized in mental abuse when it comes to her kids. Let's see. What else do we have to talk about? Well, of course, some cool stuff with Tony, her joining the cheerleading squad, and I did really like that whole stuff with the girls at Cheryl's place. I mean, Cheryl's really laying it out on there, just how vulnerable she is and how she feels, which I thought was well done. And then everything just goes completely and utterly south, and Cheryl gets tossed in the psych ward, which looks like it's run by those creepy nuns. And I liked how they kind of had her hair in those crazy pigtails. It made her look a little bit like Harley Quinn. So yeah, today it's not a good time to be Cheryl Blossom. But man, I wonder what's going to happen when Cheryl gets out of there. That's going to be some crazy stuff because who is she going to be looking for some revenge? And some very, very bad things, I think, are going to be going down at Thistle House very, very soon. You know, Cheryl just can't let this slide. It's time for Mom and Uncle Claudius to go. And I think that might be kind of why they spared Cheryl's grandma. That way Cheryl is still a minor. She needs a legal adult guardian. So if they get rid of Claudius and Cheryl's mom, Penelope, then she still has her grandmother to sort of serve that legal guardian role. And Cheryl does seem to genuinely care a great deal about her grandmother. So honestly, that might not be so bad for her. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, subscribe, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Gaijin Gaiden, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. I'm sorry, please join me on Twitter at Jedi Hoosier Jedi. Thank you. Okay, take care and have a good one.